Bible says there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought. And the dragon and his angels fought. And it says they prevailed not, neither was there a place found for them. And then he goes on, and thank the Lord, that great dragon. And that old serpent. And the devil and Satan, I'm paraphrasing, who deceived the whole world, was cast down. And now has come the kingdom of God, strength and salvation to God's people. And they went forth and conquered and conquered. So that happened in the morning time. And I saw another angel come down from heaven having a great chain. And with that chain, he bound the dragon up, that old serpent, the devil, and bound him 1,000 years. And he cast him into a bottomless pit and set a seal upon him that he could deceive the nations no more for 1,000 years were fulfilled, and he should be loosed for a little season. I'm going to present to you, and if I get something wrong, it's my head, not my heart. That there is a trinity, at least a trinity, of wicked, demonic spirits loosed on our society. The old pagan gods have arisen and are moving and are working today. And they are doing untold damage. And there's a cry going out from humanity, who am I? Trying to identify themselves. Who am I? What am I? What is my purpose? Why have I come to this earth? And we're in an identity crisis because the world has forsaken God. Remember in the beginning? We had Adam, and God sent all these animals through, and he said, identify them. And he used in the proper Hebrew language, he identified them not just haphazardly, but he identified them by their characteristics and what they could do. And they said that those who would know language would say he did an excellent job in identifying who they are. And that was the first job of the Father, our father Abraham, or Adam rather, our father Adam. So I want to give some credit to, I've been listening, some of these things I'm going to say I got from Jordan Peterson, a man named Jonathan Kahn, and there's someone else, Tim Ballard. There's a lot going on today, and there's a general awakening that's trying to work. So these spirits were somewhat bound up for a period of time. We really can't say, and I don't want you to think that I'm saying there was a Christian country. There has not been a Christian country. There have been some ideals that came from the Judeo-Christian understanding that has prevented some things from happening up to this time. But I don't want you to think that I'm saying that one country or another country has been perfect. But there are some things that allowed some things not to enter in. And so I'm going to read some scriptures, and then I'm going to speak about them a little bit, and then we're going to go on. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. For all that time, these evil demonic spirits couldn't find a place really to enter in and to rest. Then saith he, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty and swept and garnished. There was a time where Moloch and Baal and Ashtaroth, they were idols in the pagan times, and they controlled. And the idol is nothing, but there are spirits behind those idols. We know idols is nothing, but the early morning ministry bound a lot of these things up. And these things were put aside, and so to speak, sackcloths were put upon them, and they didn't have at least some sway in some places, especially what we would call the Western world. But the devil started moving, and these spirits were looking for an entrance back in. And we began some principles of losing God, of losing a culture of what is even right or wrong. And I hope this gets more clear as we go. And this culture was being lost. In Romans chapter 1, it speaks about 3 things that happen. First, people do not want to retain the knowledge of God or consider God. And the first thing that was happening is the society gets sexualized. And then after that works for a little while, it opens up to the homosexuality and the deviancy along that line. And then the third phase is where everything is just opened up broadly, and society is affected in a broad way. And what happened is the devil's looking for an opening. Then he go with him and taketh 7 more spirits, other spirits more wicked than themselves. That's why we can say we live in the most wicked time. And they enter in and dwell there. The devil has a lot of people today. But the devil wants, his attitude is, I'm going to dominate. That's why we hear the songs, we're coming for your children. How many heard that song, we're coming for the children? I've heard it at least twice. Because they are coming for our children, and they want to dominate. These spirits want to dominate us. Us. So let's talk about a seal for a moment. The beast has written and sealed many, many people.
That's right.
That's right.
And he put the seal upon them. Who am I? They're crying out.
Right.
Remember when Moses asked God, who are you? And he says, I am who I am.
That's right.
I am who I am.
Yes.
He knew who he was. I am everything. I am all in all. I feel everything. But man is lost. And we do need apostles today. Because just like Father Adam, you need to know who you are.
That's right.
Who am I? Because if you don't know who you are, what can you do?
Right.
You're bound because you do not have the liberty to say, I'm this. I can run like a deer.
Yes.
I can leap. I'm strong like a bear. I'm ferocious like a lion. I'm a woman. I'm a man. I'm a boy. I'm a girl. And I'm proud of it. So the devil has written on people's minds and they don't know who they are. And some days they're one thing and then another day there's something else. They have nothing solid to stand on. That's why we need to know who I am.
That's good. That's good.
Who am I? Christ said, you're my friend. You're my servant. I love you. The devil gets you all confused. Now, to every true preacher, there's 1,000 false. At least.
That's true.
Trying to take your identity, who you are. There's pressure on you. So, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of the man is worse than the first. Even so, listen to this, even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation. He's not only speaking individually, he's saying a whole culture or a generation can become in a worse condition, and that's what we're dealing with today. We're dealing with it individually, but in a greater sense than that, we're dealing with it in culturally or in the nations.
Very good.
And the devil has returned. It's a demonic spirits.
Yes, right.
And Michael and his angels fought. And let me tell you something. It's the same DNA again. We're in a battle. And the same way we will fight.
That's right.
So there's been a working, and I was a child in the 60s, and so I've seen a lot of things that some of you may not have seen in the 70s. I've seen the drugs, and I've seen things moving in, and the older people wondering what's going on, especially like our parents. What's happening, what's moving, and it's kept working, and it's where it's at now. So the house will not remain empty. There's no neutrality. They try to tell us, well, we're going to teach neutrality in the school. We'll be neutral. We won't talk about God. Or we won't talk for God. If you don't talk about God, you're against him. If you're not for me, you're against me. And so they got into our schools with this false notion that there's a neutrality, and there is no neutral ground, young men and young sisters. There is no neutral ground. You're either one place or another. You're either moving for God or against God. And so this is what's taking place, or what has taken place in our time. So these spirits that laid in the ashes have arisen with a ferocity like society has never seen. Like never seen. I wouldn't be surprised, young people, if he comes around these spirits and try to get you and try to torment you. I wouldn't be surprised when these things come around. Don't be shocked and say, I've lost my identity now. I don't know who I am. These spirits are coming around. Because they will. They're in the air. They're in the atmosphere. And as a child, you need to be strong. Identify with the right people. Identify with the right God. Identify with God. Not with some ugly spirit. See, if you don't know who you are a child of God. I'm speaking to the young people now. You are a child of God, a child of God. I'm made to live for God. Oh, devil, get out of here.
Yes. That's right.
So they're going to bring back, he says, they're going to bring back more demons. 7, which is a number of perfection. A powerful spirits are in the world today. And we got to deal with these spirits. Has the devil ever come to you young people and told you something? Well, let's back up and I'll cover that more maybe. I'm going to talk about 3 main spirits. 1, 2, I'll cover more than one. Baal came into Israel, led their hearts away. Jeroboam set them up so they wouldn't come and worship in Israel. That spirit's alive today in Protestantism.
That's right.
Do you know Protestantism was the beginning? I got this from Jordan Peterson. At least the nucleus of the thought was the beginning of the identity crisis.
That's right.
That's right.
It was the beginning of the identity crisis. Because I could choose what truth I wanted.
Yes.
Then you had Moloch.
Yes.
Moloch was a god that was of the pagan countries that Israel decided that they wanted to. And I believe, if I'm correct, it was in the Valley of Ginnen, which we use for hell today. And you deal with Moloch, you will be in hell in this life.
That's right.
You will be. He will bring you to a place of torment and troubles like you've never had before.
That's true.
And the spirit of Moloch was loosed, and Baal was loosed, and Moloch had fiery arms, and they heat up the fiery arms, and they lay their little babies as sacrifice into these arms of Moloch. And then they would start beating the drums because the cry of the children were so loud that they had to cover up the cry lest the parents would back out and see the awfulness of it all. There's a cry to cover up what's going on today. There's a loudness that will want to ring in your ears of the wickedness that is taking place today. Jesus one time said, these little children, if you harm one of these, it's better that you tie a millstone around your body, because the devil and his demons are always after the young ones, the innocent. The innocent. The innocent. They take their innocency. I knew young men, listen to me, young sisters, I knew young men when I was growing up, they always wanted a virgin to take their innocency.
That's right.
And they would brag about how many girls they took their innocency from. Don't be foolish. It's the spirit of the age.
That's right.
And then after they took their innocency, they laughed and dropped and bragged about it. Foolish. You pray. And Moloch, that spirit. So, if you sacrificed your child to Moloch, your promised prosperity, and they would sacrifice their children. And then the abortion industry came. Oh, there was abortions, but not an abortion industry like we have today.
That's right.
And it came up. And children were sacrificed for prosperity again. And they were not satisfied. Moloch wants to dominate. And he was not satisfied with that. He was not. And so today we're at the place for children. If you survive the knives of abortion, they're waiting with knives of child mutilation and transgenderism. And it's increasing, and they're coming after your children. And they're bold enough now, they don't even cover it up. They say, we're coming after your children. You're going to be like us. Parents suffer. These spirits don't just want to coexist with us. And coexist. Don't give them space. They want to dominate you. They want to dominate your mind. They want to dominate your thought process. They want to dominate how you think, young people. They want to dominate and get in there and work on your mind. And see, there's another god, Astaroth. And that was a sexual god, and she could go from male to female. She could be either one, and she's moved in.
Yes.
That's right.
And she wants to move in on your minds. See, at one time, sex was a sacred gift for the marriage vow and bed. But Astaroth has come in and damaged the children.
Right.
And they have no identity and tried to make it look pleasant. But never have we lived in an age that is so self-medicating,
That's right.
That's right.
cutting themselves.
You're right.
We're cutting themselves. Oh, that's from paganism, isn't it? Suicidal.
That's right.
Yes.
Astaroth is working in the air. He's working. She's working. These spirits are working, and they want to get a hold of your mind. And you need someone to take your mind. And as the sister said, seal it with God, with the name of the Father. And they were sealed with the name of the Father, 144,000 standing on Mount Zion.
Yes.
Some of you as a young person, any young person, there's a battle in your mind.
Right. Yes, sir. All right.
There's the beast, and he wants to ride all over your mind.
Yes.
Don't let him ride over your mind to tell you who you are.
Amen.
Good. Amen.
He'll sometimes tell you you're nobody.
Okay.
Are you going to listen to the beast? Or are you going to listen to the people of God?
That's good.
Come on. Amen.
See, the devil cometh to kill, steal, and destroy.
That's right. That's right.
This is a spiritual battle, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and rulers of darkness. We're in a spiritual battle. For though we walk in the flesh, how's that go? We don't fight after the flesh. Though we walk in the flesh, we do not have carnal weapons, but our weapons are mighty through the God, pulling down strongholds and casting down imaginations and every high thing that would want to exalt itself in your mind.
Right.
In your mind.
Yes. Yes.
Were you ever at a place where you felt like you were nothing and you were no good? And
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
that's these demons.
That's right.
That's these demons to keep you out of your place, what God has called you to. God has called you to something special.
Right.
That's right.
Amen.
Right. Come on.
And he'll do all he can to hinder you. Some of you need to be loosed. What do you mean loosed? Loosed to run like the deer, like I said.
Yes.
Loosed to swing from the branches of the trees. Loosed. That's important.
Yes.
It is. We need monkeys.
Yes.
That might sound funny, but we need that.
Yes.
Adam going around and naming them. You're a monkey. That's nice. How do you do that? I like that. You're a giraffe. I remember I was in Africa and they were eating out of our hands, the giraffes. Some of you young people, and older maybe, are a little too much downcast.
That's true.
Just a little bit too much. I'm going to go on. So, in Ireland, where I live, people blame God for all the abuses in the religious system. And so they turned on God, but now spirits are loosed in that society like never before. And I often say, don't you know religious people crucified Jesus? Don't you know some of the hottest places in hell will be for religious people?
Yes. Right.
And when they blame God, spirits were able to get in and work. There's an antichrist, and I know it's plural, but I'm just talking about the spirit of the antichrist. He'll cause you to believe a lie.
That's right.
I remember when I was a young, early saved, I knew a young man who was saved as could be, but the devil kept lying to that young man, and the young man would believe the lie. I'm going to talk about truth for a little bit. You let me talk about truth? Because truth is so much tied in who you are.
That's right.
Because if there's no truth, you can be this today and that tomorrow.
That's right.
You could be a girl today, a boy tomorrow. There's no truth. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Men began to claim other gods, and with the other gods came other truths. When you begin to worship Moloch, he has a truth. Not real truth, not objective truth. Just to help you for a minute, let me tell you what an objective truth is versus a subjective truth.
Okay.
An objective truth is always truth that changes not. An objective truth would be rape is always wrong.
Okay.
To beat a child is always wrong. Subjective truth might be, I like chocolate.
All right.
You don't have to like chocolate. I like chocolate. But the devil began to work in saying, what's true for me may not be truth to you, but you can have your truth and I can have my truth. And in the end, it makes it so there's no truth.
That's right. Yes.
And that's the big problem. There's no truth.
Amen. Yes, sir.
What do you do if someone comes to you and say, there's no truth? What do you say? You say, are you absolutely true? Is that absolutely true what you just said? It's a self-defeating statement. There is truth.
Yes.
And you need to know the truth because the truth sets you free.
Yes.
Because right now there's too many people who don't know who they are.
Right.
The devil will send you a strong delusion that you believe a lie. Oh, you're always going to have to be that way. You were that way. Your parents were that way. You've been that way for so long. And he'll send a delusion that you'll believe a lie. And I am one called to cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God.
Amen.
I don't care what you are today.
That's right.
God can change it.
That's right.
By the time I'm done preaching, he can change it.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Thank the Lord.
There's just one ultimate truth. And that ultimate truth opens up the way for God to work. And if there's contrary truths, then there's really no truth, but we're Christians and we believe there's a truth.
Yes.
And I'm tired of the devil lying to God's people.
Amen.
I'm tired of it.
Amen.
If you only had a boyfriend, if you only had this, truth. One time I was in the city center of Dublin. And he said, there's no truth. There's no laws of God. And I looked at him. I was by the GPO building, which is a fairly high building. I said, you say there's no laws, God? He said, yeah, there's no laws of God. There's no truth. I said, climb that building and jump down and see if there's a law of gravity or not.
Yes.
There's truth.
Yes.
And the truth of the matter is, you were made to serve God.
That's right.
You were made to serve the devil. You weren't made to be under his foot. You weren't made to be under his dominion.
Yes, sir.
See, if God doesn't help you to see truth of who you are, and if you did not allow Adam to identify you, you're never going to be what you're supposed to be.
That's right.
Some of you are wandering around. What am I? What do I do? Well, just do. Just do. Just allow someone to say, this is what you are, and just believe it. But we have such a hard time believing it. But we'll believe the devil's lie.
That's right.
Yes. Come on.
We believe the devil's lie. Believe truth.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm good. I don't know if I'm bad. I don't know if I'm saved. I don't know if I'm not saved. Let me be Adam right now.
Good. All right.
Would you listen to Adam?
Yes.
That's good.
Good.
Would you listen to Adam? You're all made with a purpose. A divine purpose. And the devil's trying to keep you in a lie so you can't do your divine purpose. The more you're in the lie, the longer he can keep you there, the longer he has to wait till you be what you need to be. But when you start believing the truth of who you are and believe in those who truth speak the truth, it will set you free. And some of you aren't free yet. But I'm called to cast down imaginations of every high thing. So I'm casting them down right now in your mind. Do you understand?
Yes.
Let me cast them out of your mind.
Good.
If there's no absolute truth, you're anything you want to be. The Antichrist ultimately is the one who twists the truth and make the truth look like a lie and make the lie look like a truth.
That's right.
I've been there. You've been there.
Sure.
We all been fighting the devil.
Sure we have.
The devil's told us a lot of things in our lives. And he's going to keep saying it, and he's going to keep saying it. And so what do? Come to truth.
Yes. Right.
Say, what am I?
That's good.
It's good.
That's really at least part of what sealing is.
Yeah, that's right.
That's, yes. Very good.
It's going to take this truth to open your eyes.
Yes.
It's going to take this truth to open your eyes. I don't know if I should stop here or go a little farther because I don't want to. I'm just going to go a little farther, maybe a little quicker. These spirits, when they entered in, there was an order to their working.
That's right. Yes.
They had to take away the men.
That's right. Right.
Because if you do not have strong men, what are the children going to do?
That's right. Yes.
What are the children going to do? What if you don't know who you are? While you don't know who you are, the devil's working all up in your family, working all up in the schools, working all up. You got to know who you are.
Yeah. Right.
To be a brother, this has to start with the brothers.
Right.
A son, a husband, a father. You need to embrace your manhood.
That's right.
I said embrace your manhood. And you young children, you young boys need to embrace your manhood.
Yes.
The most dangerous person in the world is someone who knows who they are. And they are fearless in who they are. And they go forth in their fearlessness and do a work for God that no one else can do.
Yes.
That's good.
And the devil would try in all his might to make us no count.
That's right.
That's why I opened up. If I make a mistake, it's not from my heart, it's from my head. I had a little fear and a little trembling. I said, oh, Lord, what if I mess up? So I got a little way out. It always helps to have a way out. But when we're dealing with the devil, oh, brethren, young boys need to be protectors.
Yes.
They need to know how to protect their sisters, even their mothers.
Yes.
They need to take it serious. And Gerald, you can stop looking at your sister and making fun of her. So I see you, Brother Gerald. I see you. It's okay. You're exerting your manhood. That's okay. Embrace your calling. Look for greatness.
Yes.
A man of strong convictions fights off feelings of inferiority. Woo! I got a message on men fighting off inferiority. I got a whole message on that. I need to preach that sometime. To fight off inferiority. I'm saying that word wrong, but I say a lot of words wrong. Young men need to know how to fight that off. A young man needs to know how to fight when it looks like they're losing.
That's right.
That everything looks bad, but they just keep going and going and going. Now, I don't want to get off my subject, so let's move on. Okay. He will not give up even when things look bad. I'm going to say a few more things. This pornography is a curse.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Every study, I want to say this slowly so you get every study, shows there's a direct correlation between pornography. Now listen. I want you to understand this, and sexual human trafficking.
That's right.
In other words, if a young man or a man looks at pornography, and the more it's looked at, there's more children entrapped in human sexual trafficking.
Right.
If you've been in that trap, get out of it.
Yes.
Even if it's not for yourself, get out of it. The children.
Yes.
For the children's sake.
Yes.
Get out of it. Well, how do I get out of it? I got a plan. Come and see me. I'm really trying to move. How someone can watch that is amazing to me. After I'm done speaking right now, I want you to vow that I'm not going to do this no more.
Amen.
I don't know if you ever seen a child who's been abused. I see them all the time.
Yes.
And I've seen them when they're 50 years old, 60 years old after it happened. And they're still dealing with it. And I don't know the sorrow in their eyes and the brokenness and the hurt and the pain and the spirit Ashtaroth has brought that in.
That's right.
And I want you today, I want a lot of in this room to make a lot of vows today.
Good.
You just come to the altar and break it out today.
That's good.
Children are no longer wanted, they're abused. One man and woman were both the same. There would not be a need for one or the other.
That's right.
But you're not the same. Woman, embrace your womanhood.
Yes.
Daughters, embrace your womanhood.
Yes.
Wives and mothers. Moloch has taken the very power of the spirit of woman out of her womanhood.
That's right.
That's right.
A woman that could offer their own baby. Something really had to happen.
Amen.
And those women who have, there's forgiveness and a clearing in God.
That's right.
But we must understand that the demons are working. So we drive every vestige of God out of society. And these spirits have come in.
That's true. Right.
And they worked on your mind. They worked on my mind. Now, I'm going to ask a few questions. I often do this when I'm done. Who in this room will rise up and save the children? Who in this room has the courage to defy the narrative these demons have put on you,
That's good.
these devils have put on you, and you have put on you? You're something special.
That's right.
Made in the image of God. There's something else that happens to society, and it's awful. I want you to get this, young man. The devil has worked a work where it's not good to be spiritual, theologically smart,
That's right.
confident, bold, strong in the things of God. He's trying
Yes.
to produce weaklings.
That's right.
Right.
Just at the time, the most urgent time, God needs strong men and women.
Yes.
I want you to defy the writings and the narrative that the devil's put on you.
Amen.
Young woman, the devil's put something out on you. It's not good to be modest.
All right.
It's not good to be strong.
All right. That's right.
But to be girly in a negative sense. Fathers, the devil's put a narrative on you.
That's right.
Trying to make you wimpy, girlish, unprotective. Will you defy? You told yourself all life long, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. Get out of here, would you please? Would you let Adam identify you? Would you let Adam seal you?
That's very good.
Would you let him tell you who you are? Because, see, we don't know who we are.
That's right.
Some young person has a sexual feeling, and the feeling is that they're the opposite sex, and they'll obey that feeling. What is that? That little part of you you're going to...
Right.
Young married couples. Old married couples. You need to be an example. What it is to be a husband and wife.
That's right.
Can I boast a minute?
Yes.
Will you bear with me? I'm a father.
Yes. That's right.
I love my father who I had, but he didn't teach me much. But I'm a father.
Yes.
And being a father, I love you all
Yes.
as a father and protective over you as a father.
Amen.
A few more things and we'll be done. No more being afraid of the devil.
Amen.
It's done. It's over. It's time past. He needs to start trembling at you.
That's right.
You need to start laying hurt on him. He's hurt you long enough. You need to defy him. You need to defy him. You need to defy him.
That's right.
I'm not buying your narrative. I'm not going to be marked up by the beast.
That's right.
Oh, thank God for the power of the blood. When you're fearless, some of you I like to just take in my arms. I like to hold you and tell you to go and be something for God.
Yes.
Why you give the devil so much room?
Yes.
Why give him so much attention? Why does he control who you are? And God can make you right. And God can make you holy. And God can make you strong. I'm going to finish with this. You're supposed to finish with your strongest. Pray for me. And I heard this from someone, but it's truth. At least I heard the seed of it. Most things I hear, I got from somebody. If you don't rise up now, these demons are coming for our children
Yes.
and for our young people. And these demons don't just want some, they want to dominate.
That's right.
If I was a young man right now, if I was your age, I'd be putting my boxing gloves on. I'd be getting my 5 stones and my slingshot.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'd be saying, send me. I'll go. I'll be fearless. I'll be bold. I'll go after it. But I'm not a young man, but I'm still going to do it. Will you? Will you make a radical change today in your mind,
That's good.
would you stop being who the devil's telling you you are
Yes.
and allow God to speak to you? I'm going to tell you one more thing. I hope. If you wait to think it over, it won't work.
That's right.
The devil's in the wait.
That's right.
Thank you for your time.